Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for this Saturday, December 4th, 2021. And this is the post-fight for Haney versus Diaz that took place on Dazn, live from Las Vegas, Nevada, the MGM Grand. And fight card just finished up. We had a tremendous card there that ran a lot longer. The programming ran a lot longer than it should have, but we still ended up getting quite an action-packed, highly competitive fight, which is all that we look to ask for when we talk about this sport that we say that we adore, boxing. And I want to say welcome to everybody that's out there, man. Don't forget to smash that like button as you come into the building. See, we got a few people out there that's been out there from the get. And it doesn't let me scroll back all the way up to the top, so forgive me if I miss a couple of those that were in prior to the brother. Resident Medic, Kenneth Johnson out there, channel member, says, salute Stormy B, man, salute to you. Dwayne Jones is back with us saying, bless up from Atlanta. Underground Asylum channel member is out there saying, salute Stormy B, man. Let's talk about it, Sensei. Dr. Professor is back saying, salute Stormy B, man. A lot of good fights tonight. Absolutely. Big Homie Coop is back there. He says, salute Seafood. Back smack the like button. And class is in session, so pay attention. My man Boxing and Barbecue is with us again saying, what's up, Stormy? What's good with you, Boxing and Barbecue? I know you had something good to eat while you was watching the fights, man. That probably was better than the fights itself. You know what I mean? And we got King Strick out there saying, salute Stormy B, man. The Queen Tay Brown is with us. She's saying, yo. And Young World is out there as well saying, yo, salute Big Storm. Salute to the chat. Jay Wayne Citizen is out there saying, salute to Stormy and the chat. Yave is out there, channel member, saying salute. Anthony Bolton, the same. And Dwayne Freeman, the same. Appreciate everybody that decided to come in here and listen to the post-fight with Stormy B, man. Yeah, what a card, right? I mean, we saw some action-packed fights. The co-main left a lot to be desired for me. We even got a mix of a couple of heavyweights in there tonight. So, you know, you when you get the big boys in there, you kind of expect the bodies to hit the floor, and that's exactly what happened tonight when the big boys got in there. So we saw a little bit of everything, man, and I ain't mad. You know what I mean? Dazn, as I had stated on one of the other post-fight shows, I said, hey, this last quarter of the year, they've been pulling their weight, huh? And they know how to make you wait too, don't they? Because what the devil was going on? Has anyone got word onto why they delayed the last fight of the evening? And it looked like Devin got to the stadium late. But what was up with that, man? I mean, that delay was like 40 minutes, man. You know? And we could have been on the air well over an hour ago and got through this mess. But I noticed something because I watched a little bit of Devin's interview with those dudes that are on Dazn earlier, and they were trying to ask him about his ring entrance, his attire, and everything. And he has stated he had something that he had designed himself. So what you saw him wear to the ring this evening was his own design, and he was supposed to have an artist walk him to the ring, and that didn't take place. So I wonder if that's part of this delay that took place when whoever was supposed to walk him out to the ring didn't show up, or canceled, or something came up, or whatever. So we did see something go wrong right there. But as I had written in one of the chats, I was listening to both KQKC, and Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. And I wrote in one of the chats, I said, that's why guys should just play a song, an old school song, just like Bud Crawford do, and walk your butt onto the ring and get going. Stop giving these artists that don't really need that type of camera time and airtime, because this is your time as a professional fighter. Your ring walk should be a total time of your last moment to yourself to focus up on the task at hand. And having guys coming in there with a microphone and draped all over your shoulders and everything, and besides, they don't even be singing anyway. A record be playing and they just be yelling in a mic. So get rid of that foolishness and get back to the boxing. But yeah, I want to, find out exactly why was it such a huge delay. We need to know that. And, whoever can find that out, if you find it out before this show is over, please write it in the chat, because I'm anxious to find out what happened with that. We got Jay Gibson out there, Alvin Davis. Jay says, salute to Stormybman and the family. Mr. Pac-Man 216 is out there. He says, salute to you, brother. And we got a few more. Dreezy KO is out there saying, I thought Devin looked good tonight. It's not about the power, it's about the sharpness. I think he made JoJo hesitant. Eric Jenkins, channel member, is out there saying, salute to you, bro. Channel member Mike 202 is out there saying, blessing sensei. Salute to you, Mike. And Coco 007 says, was a lot of KOs, so I think that's why. Yeah, there were stoppages, weren't there? There were a lot of stoppages on the undercard, and they may have had a specific time for the main event's ring entrance. But if that be the case, they got to find another way to fill time, man. But I don't want to sit there and listen to those guys talk like they were talking, and I don't want to sit there looking at Sean Porter's outfits, because that Leprechaun collection, man, I ain't a big fan of that. You know what I mean? The Boxing Plug is out there saying, salute Stormy B-Man, salute to you. Young World says, right, Storm, you just putting on something nice, and let's get on with it. That's right. 704 Joe says, Sensei, yep, what's good, man? But I guess we'll see Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens after he do his bit of uploading. He like to do that, before he come on. But listen, we can just go ahead and start getting down to it, man. This main event, Devin Haney and JoJo Diaz. What I liked about the fact that JoJo Diaz was going to be the opponent for Haney on this night is due to his being a fighter of experience, ring experience. I mean, JoJo had been in there with the likes of Mr. Gary Russell and Tevin Farmer. He's been in there with some guys who can box, who can fight, and he has shown a lot of fighting spirit himself. So when you bring him in against Devin Haney, you knew he was going to test Haney's mettle and maybe Haney's best opponent thus far, with the exclusion of what's his name, Linares, because Linares is an aging fighter on the way down, and JoJo is still not yet 30 years old, but is a battle-tested veteran fighter. So I thought that knowing that JoJo was going to be the opponent in this fight, he was going to bring the best out of Devin. Devin was going to have to be sharp, just like Dreezy KO mentioned in the chat there. He was going to have to be. He could not rest on his laurels. He could not be a fighter that wasn't focused up and ready to, compete on this night. No cakewalks on this night, So that's what JoJo Diaz was bringing to the fight. And I think once the opening bell rang, Devin had that type of focus as well. I was watching his posture just before the opening bell, first round. I love to see fighters dialed in at their opponent across the ring and look to meet them in the center of the ring. And both men met each other like that. Nobody just kind of waltzed or sashayed out there. Both men took steps, aggressive steps toward each other, and started immediately looking for openings. I always like to see that. And it was nice that Devin met that, because definitely Diaz came out with that type of approach and posture in the first round. I see my man Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens has popped into the building now. What's good, Reggie? Good call on the fight, man. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. My nervousness came down. I was nervous going into this fight. Thought something was wrong with Haney, and he went out here and put on a magnificent display, except he did make a few mistakes that didn't have to happen, but I think he played a little bit into trying to give the fans what they wanted. And, you know, he passed on all marks to me, but I wish he did not have to kind of play into this. I think they do a little bit too much of trying to please unpleasant fans out here in the world of boxing. He was good at doing what he was supposed to, but that's my open on that.
Yeah, and, you know, as I was watching the fight, I could see Devin's inexperience, because though he was doing a lot of things very well, but there were a few things that he wasn't doing enough of. And I'm like, man, I wish I could be there to tell him these things, because there was some simple adjustments that he needed to make to open up Diaz more. Now, he did make an adjustment in the middle rounds. I want to say it was at least round 6 or 7, Reggie, when you noticed he began to start throwing this looping overhand right. That shot right there was a shot that Diaz was not looking for, because Devin's output became routine. The probing jab, the jab or straight to the belly. He was not throwing enough liver shots, and he was not hooking off the jab. So that high guard paid dividends for Diaz to remain in a safe place for a long, extended period of time in the fight. But once that looping overhand right started mixing in, he had to be on guard for that too, which means that was going to open up something else. But the something else that I was looking for from Devin was to start putting the combinations together, because he could block 1 or 2, maybe even 3. But when you start running those numbers, because the combination chart doesn't always have to be jab, right hand, left hook. You can start mixing in a variety of punches from different angles and stop using singularities, because the singularities, he can start positioning his hands to block them, because you're only throwing them a couple of times. But as you saw, also another adjustment he made late in the fight, he started throwing a really strong left hook around that guard that was getting to Diaz, but he wasn't doubling up with it, nor was he throwing it in succession with something from the right side to bang him back and forth. You know what I mean? To give him like, damn, you know, because he's either going to have to step out of that or grab you and slow that momentum down or something. So those are the type of little adjustments that I see he needs to make going forward, because you're in the fight now. Let your hands go. And you're a young man. It's like, dude, you train harder than you're going to fight, huh? And to start running numbers is essential, especially if you're a boxer like Devin, who's not going to knock a lot of guys out, but you can bust them up, you can cut them up, but you have to run those numbers off. Your thoughts on that, Reggie?
Yeah, no, I think Devin has to just stay with these plans, man, instead of trying to go out there. I just don't like loading up on a lot of the shots, trying to get JoJo up out of there with these big shots. It was just, you should have just stuck to working this guy, jabbing him, finding more of the cleaner shots rather than them load up. When he landed a lot of clean shots, but I think loading up to throw those big heavy shots, which really had no real effect up on JoJo. Even the shots that hurt JoJo in the fight weren't those big, whirling of the shots. It was a little short, crisp shots to the side of the jaw, side of the head. But he didn't take advantage of it. I think the work to the body was good. I think he cautioned himself throwing combinations against JoJo just because of the dangers out there. But I think a lot of what Devin did to get caught with shots was leaning in forward, hands down, trying to roll up under shots, trying to anticipate and find counters because of his speed advantages, looking for that stuff. He could have just stayed technical and sharp and not been hit with some of those shots. But good thing nothing bad came out of result of some of the shots he got hit with. But I think he could have, there ain't nothing Devin got to add. He's already clean and sharp on the defense. I think he just has to go in here, not toy around with any of these guys, or this JoJo, Kambosos, Tank, whoever it is, not to toy with any of these guys, especially when the offense is looking good. I was worried about him getting too caught up in how beautiful his work looked. And he went in there and started kind of flashing for the photo with some of the work he was doing. Get a little bit too impressed with kind of points, blowing JoJo up out of the water, flashing, throwing shots, throwing a little little pattern type shots, leaving himself open, getting hit with stuff. I think he just has to keep his mind in serious mode throughout the fight. But I think he did a lot to play into giving the fight fans a thrilling fight, to showcase who he is and that he has dog in him. And he did showcase a lot of that because he kept JoJo at bay. He made JoJo go in here thinking about it. He may not got knockout power, but he got enough to cause a tough guy like JoJo to second guess and really have to think about what he was walking in there to. Because like I said, he did rock JoJo about 2 or 3 times in the fight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, as I was stating, for him to go ahead and, run numbers. See, when you get in the routine of singularity shots, when you just, that stiff jab to the body, guys be waiting for you so they can counter that. And he got caught a couple of times in between those singularities. And that's what I was talking about running numbers. Because if a fighter gets your timing down, you can pay heavily. And I think with his reach and his ranginess, all he had to do was, put some combinations together. I'm not saying that he had to just open up and go for broke. No, that's not what I'm saying. But he did become, he was working out of a pattern at some points. When I start seeing that looping overhand right hand, like around, I think it was round 7 or something like that, I was like, oh, okay, a new wrinkle. And even when he went back to the corner, his dad, Bill, was like, oh, I don't want to see that punch no more. I was like, dude, that punch is effective. What do you mean you don't want to see it no more? You know what I mean? Because what it did was it opened up some other things. But his footwork, he needs to polish up on that a little bit more. Also, this is me offering critique because JoJo doesn't have the fastest feet in the world, but he was still having a little bit of trouble getting out of the way, especially when he was near the ropes. Those are some things they can get better at. He can watch some film of his own mistakes and look at some film of some guys who had great lateral movement and can get out of that triangle, what I like to call a triangle, and get out of the way of those ropes. But for the most part, he boxed very well. And even in that round, I think it was round 12 that you were saying that JoJo got that round. I thought he took the round away from him with the effectiveness that he got at JoJo with, and then had JoJo backpedaling. So JoJo got out to a quick start in that 12th and had you know, he was taking around, but I thought that Devin, after a few of those clinches and breaks, when he started coming back at him, I think he actually took the round because he was making JoJo back up because he had hurt him with something. And then I think also something with his eye. It's like he got hit there. Maybe he took a cut. He didn't want to sustain too much damage to it or something. It was just his body language right there was like, well, let me try to kill the clock and get on to the end of this round so I don't have to go home all bloody and everything, because he's been known to catch the cuts. So he did very well, almost escaped this fight with a cut, without a cut, but very good fight between these two young men. And I have to say, Reggie, and we've talked about this too, that when these men are fighting in their perpetual youth, this is the type of effort that you get. You get fast reflexes, you get high volume action, you get spirited fights with, you know, guys that are in condition, you know, and things of that nature. Man, it makes for a difference, doesn't it? When you can see these guys, Devin's 23, what was JoJo like 28 or something like that? It's like,
yeah, 29.
Yeah, it's like when you're seeing these men in their perpetual youth, they can give you these type of fights. This is why we don't want to see guys, oh, let's let it marinate, and the guys go on the other side of 30. You know, it's like I remember when all the welterweights were 30, 31 years old. I think Bud might have been the oldest at 31. You know, and Thurman and all those other guys and Spence, they were 29 and 30. You know, now all of those guys are in their 30s. It's like, and they, you know, still fights on the table that they left. So that's, you know, but we saw tonight again, when the young guys get in there, in their prime still, and still the youth, this is the type of action you get. Just last week, the Cambosos fight, we saw it between he and Lopez. These guys dropped each other, and, you know, they were battling, and that's when you can see that, other than one-sided wipeouts or beatdowns. You know what I mean? So that's what I had to say about that.
Yeah, and I want to get back to that punch, man. I like that punch. I think I'd see Triple G throw that punch you're talking about, where he rolls it. It loops over and it lands on the top of on the crown of the head. And it that first one that landed on JoJo, it shocked JoJo.
Yeah.
And I think one of them may have buzzed JoJo. And I was like, wow, where the hell Devin pulled that out from? But he was landing every time he threw it. But I think he kept clean, because I don't think JoJo returned anything, because the punch doesn't feel good. Triple G knocks cats out with that punch, or at least he buzzes an opponent to set up to where he hurts an opponent, then he goes after him for the finish. But I thought that was some flashy stuff. New thing that Devin showed. But also being in here, Devin showed good power, but he was in here against a strong fighter. There ain't too much you can really rate a person's punching power on JoJo, because you're not going to really hurt him. You never really seen him hurt. You don't see him really walk back. Devin kept him at bay and was able to even rock him as well. And I don't know why Devin didn't see those moments to go in there and try to finish him off. And throughout this fight, he kept JoJo in that high and tight. JoJo guard throughout this fight was high and tight, and it was high and tight for a reason. Devin was exploding some nice punches on him. Like I said, I was nervous. I thought something was wrong with his hands, but Devin let those hands go, and he showed a different side to himself. It was vicious. There was a lot of foot wrangling in the fight as well. I think Devin they were tripping and stepping on each other's feet a lot. Yeah, I think JoJo was kind of deliberately trying to do that stuff, and the referee wasn't catching it. I think the referee was bugging, worrying about these shots, whether they were low or not, and they weren't. But I'm glad Devin Haney didn't let that take him off of his game plan, because he still continued to work to the body. Just, hell, keep working to the body. If the ref wanted to do it, let him take a point. And I'm glad it didn't come to that point. But I thought Moore was being real distracting with constantly trying to warn about punches being low when they weren't low. If the punch ain't low, then don't say nothing. But that's my thoughts with that.
Yeah. Salute to my man, Drew Titan, LLC. I see you out there, bro. Hustler Slim, William Old School Ardent. Welcome to the show, fellas. Listen, Reggie, let's get back on Mora for a minute, man. We talked about this guy, haven't we? He's on our red list. Did you see that stoppage earlier in the Lovemore fight, man? What was that about? Huh? Montana Love, I said Lovemore, forgive me. Against that, not Montana. What was the guy's name, Reggie?
No, that wasn't Moore. You talking about Quatavious Cash and Ammo Williams? Yeah, that was the same ref. From Montana Love fight.
Yeah, because that was on the Before the Bell broadcast, and that was the main event. Dude, he hit the guy, rocked him really good. The guy rocked back. He rushed in, and he kind of bowled him into the ropes, and they went down on the canvas, and then Moore jumps in and stops the fight. What was that all about?
No, that wasn't Russell Moore. That was that other ref.
Oh, that wasn't Moore?
No, that was that ref who did Montana Love fight. Okay. Where he let that guy get knocked down like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, so there was indiscretions. You know, it's like these guys were doing different things under similar circumstances or scenarios, and that kid, that fight that got stopped, dude, he ought to petition that or something. I mean, that's almost like a Michael Fox type deal there. You know, we're seeing this thing. Yeah, Dr. Professor, the Ammo Williams fight, man. That was a horrible, horrible stoppage. The ref just totally imposed himself on the action and stopped the fight. If that's the case, a lot of fights don't go. You know, a lot of fights don't go. You just stop them, Richard Steele style, and, you know, people will be upset. People will be losing, you know, against fights that they never have a chance to come back in. You know, if they stopped Teofimo in that first round of his fight last week after he got bludgeoned on the jaw, and they just stopped it like that, I mean, he would have had an argument. Hey, what are you doing? You know, I just, it's too much of this. What do you call it? It's not consistent, you know? And we have to point that stuff out. That's one of the things about when we do our post-fight show. We do talk about these things because they're right there blatantly in front of your face. And a lot of times when the night is over, people just forget about it and it's on to the next, you know, broadcast. But it's like, these men, this is how they earn their living, bro. And it's like when you got someone just taking fights away from you like that, and then you look at the women's fight where Jessica McCaskill, man, she was beating up the Candyman, and the Candyman might have brain damage after this fight, how many right hands he took in that fight. And I'm saying he, but everyone knows what it's supposed to be. But Reggie said that the referee was her brother, so they looked alike. But give us some more thoughts on that, Reggie, about the inconsistency that we've seen with the officiating this evening.
I was so upset watching that Ammo Williams versus Quatavious Cash fight, the way that ref stopped it, because even in the first round, that first round turned on Ammo within about 30, 45 seconds. Ammo started off looking sharp because I wanted to see how he looked, being that he was coming back from his bout with the mental health issue. And seeing him get in there, he was looking sharp. But Cash was making these adjustments on Ammo, and he ended up catching Ammo. He hurt Ammo, I think like 2 or 3 times in that first round, and he was catching Ammo with a lot of shots. So his timing was good on Ammo in that first round. And it looked a little scary for Ammo in that first round. He makes it out of that round, start the second round. Ammo catches him with that nice left hook to the chin. It caught him clean on the chin, so it was going to buzz him. It did what it was supposed to do. It didn't knock him out, just buzz him. Ammo come rushing in there. Cash did the right thing. He wrapped Ammo up, and they end up tripping because of Ammo rushing in at him, him being a little buzzed, wrapping up on him. And while he's on the ground, the ref is going to call the fight as both fighters getting their feet. You can't even assess if the guy is really hurt like that. And it showed when he got back to his feet. He was like, even as the ref he's the ref jumping all over the top of him, and he's trying to get up, waving his arms like, no, no, no. Like, what the hell are you doing? And even he sprung up like, man, what are you doing, man? And now you wreck this guy's career because Cash may be kind of towards that deciding, these fights are being deciding factors on his career. Like, and you don't give him the opportunity to go out there and display his craft. You're going to call the fight on the ground after a trip. It wasn't even a knockdown. You couldn't even score that fall as a knockdown. So how the hell are you calling the fight off when they trip? And that was a BS. And then it doesn't do anything for Ammo Williams. Yeah, it looks cool to have the stoppage on your record, but as you coming back to really see where you're at, Ammo needed rounds in that fight. He needed to go rounds. So it almost like Ammo didn't even have a fight on this. This wasn't even really a fight to bring him back because he didn't get the rounds and he was being rocked himself in that first round. So we need to at least get the completion of this round or even a third round to really see if he got a clean knockout. So the referee did injustice to both people. And then that same referee goes in the Montana Love fight with a fighter who just didn't belong in the ring, especially with Montana Love coming in there with this huge weight advantage. He was just crushing that dude. He allowed this dude to get dropped 3 times in that fight and let it go on. So that just shows the wide variations of how this dude refs a fight. He's inconsistent as hell.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous, man. Everything about that judge, that ref.
Absolutely, man. It was ridiculous to see it. And it's like, that's why I thought it was more too, because, sometimes they keep bringing these guys back, for another match. And why is Mora getting all of these big fights in Vegas now? What is that? What is up with that, Reggie?
I don't know if a lot of those referees are retiring because I'm starting to see a lot of new faces reffing these fights. So I don't know if they went through a sweep of retirement.
He got Fury and Wilder. He got, what was the next big one? Canelo and Caleb. He got this one. And then there's one more that I'm not thinking of in between. He, in the past few months since October, he's had 4 big fights, Reggie. And he's not a good official. Remember, he's the one that they were like, they had kicked him out. Remember? We talked about this guy. Now all of a sudden he's the go-to Vegas ref. I'm telling you, these fighters better wisen up, man, and look at what's happening, because if you're going to Vegas, that might be a guy you don't want officiating your fight if you're in a championship fight. Because he's very inconsistent himself, and you look into his past and you find out why they wanted to boot him out, and it's all right there. The information is right there. But he's had 4 big fights since the Fury Wilder fight. And remember, he wasn't even the original ref for that fight. They brought him in just a few days before the fight. They changed him. So I don't know what to make of this. And, some people might say, well, like, oh, Stormy just trying to create controversy. No. Go look for yourself. You'll see. We've talked about this. When we do this post-fight show, this one of the things we do is we go into detail on that kind of stuff and bring up what people may not have realized was transpiring. It's there. It's there. And he was only talking to Devin Haney tonight. Get your punches up. Get your punches up. You figure you say that to a guy enough, it's the threat of, now he never said, I'm going to take a point from you. But it's like, you keep saying that, and the guy is doing good work, but you become a distraction. He stopped doing the good work, and that's giving the other fighter an advantage. Because he was hurting Diaz to the body with good body work.
He was definitely wrong for doing that crap. And he was doing it in between the fighters standing in front of each other with no action going on. It's like, what are you doing, Moore?
How about all the times that Diaz was hitting Devin behind the head and stuff.
Yeah, and he hit Devin low, and Moore didn't say anything. He stood there and watched it and let the action continue on. That was really the only low blow I've seen. Was when JoJo like 2 punches low, but
he hit
he's
Devin
trying to stand
in the
like
crotch. He hit Devin
Right.
in the crotch. It wasn't even the belt line. He hit Devin in the crotch, and just to wake everybody up on talking about this particular ref, that's the exact violation that he was ousted for, because he let one dude get hit below the belt like 3,000 times. Remember, Reggie? And then he disqualified the other guy or stopped the fight for the other guy. He did something a couple times. Remember? We talked about this.
Did so much. Moore has done so much suspect stuff, man. And
he's
I'm
in
glad
with the
Devin
WBC. He's in with the WBC. There are photos out there of him with the original Suleiman, the dad, when Mauricio was a young guy. Okay? And they went on golfing trips together and everything. He wearing WBC shirts and everything.
But I think what's going on in Vegas, I don't know. I think Vegas, because I'm seeing a lot of these new refs, a lot of them. I don't even see a lot of the old refs that you used to see at some of the fights, and that's probably why Moore's getting a lot of these jobs. I don't know what has happened out here. And then I know the commission is going through a change. I think the guy who headed the Vegas commission is resigning or maybe retiring, but I know he's stepping down. So I don't know what that opened the door for out here. Yeah. And that dude comes out the FBI world, so I don't even know how the heck he became a boxing commission. And then before that, they had people who own casinos. I think the people who own the UFC used to be the commissioner for boxing and crap. So it's like a lot of stuff is unregulated. And that's why you can't get anything done. A lot of people don't come out the world of boxing who control it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, sometimes it becomes very difficult when you see these things happening over and over again. It's like we talk about it, we say things, but I think there need to be more of a push from some of the other people out here if they're concerned. But wait till your favorite fighter get done wrong. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, let's talk about some of the other fights, Reggie. Which one you want to go at?
That what's his name? The co-main Montana Love fight.
Yeah, what is up with Montana Love, man? The dog and the lady doing his hair and in the locker room, and the other guy cutting his beard and all of that stuff, man. I mean, come on, man. What go ahead. You go ahead. I'll listen to what you have to say first. Shit.
I think he's waiting to find the Maidana fight, so he can go end up fighting that dude, beats the dog crap out of him, so he can get the dog crap beat out of him, so he can be like the puppy that he walks in the ring with. But to even do all these antics, it's like it's not a good look, especially you come in here missing weight. You didn't come in here being professional about the whole thing. And it's like he's overlooking that. I mean, I think it's probably why Chris Maddox and him had to bring up about, I don't know why Chris Maddox brought up about him going to jail or whatnot. They bring it up to where maybe it's a lifestyle issue with this guy. This guy's conflicted, and that also will cost him, because these promoters have experienced fighters like that, and they refuse to put their money behind it. I think this dude wins any little trinket that gives him something to strap around his waist. It's going to go to his head. And that dude would lose focus of everything. He comes into a big payday, he's going to lose focus of everything. What was the reason for missing the weight by that much? He can box. Montana's a hella fighter. But the antics, like, what is the purpose? You think you got to do that because you're a black fighter? Is that what you think black fighters have to do to garner attention to themselves? No. His antics don't do anything for him. His performances do everything. The way he gets in their box, he can box. All that other little cornball, stupid crap, like, it don't do nothing but turn people away from you, especially you missing weight. Like, it's no excuse from that. there's not even no real credit in that can be given to him. And even with the opponent in there, that opponent didn't pose nothing. That opponent was retarded. This opponent just getting frustrated, leaning in forward, walking in the shots. He never changed any of that. He never jabbed once. He kept walking in with his head to get clipped. And it was just like, it was Montana doing what he's supposed to, but that opponent posed nothing for Montana. So it's like, when Montana gets into some real issue, I mean, I want to see how he overcomes it and what happens with it. So, but that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was not impressed with that particular opponent. I wasn't impressed with how the fight went. That was that same ref, like you said. He let the guy get knocked down 45 times and then stopped it when he was on his feet. When he says, I mean, come on. Are you serious? And then this guy, you know, he's out there with the damn dog and everything. I know people be looking for gimmicks and stuff like that, but me, I just like when you can fight and you go out there and you take care of business, you put your robe on and go back to the dressing room and we see you in 3 to 6 months. You know, I don't want to see all of that other stuff. You brushing your hair and you got a woman putting your clothes on you and all of that stuff. That don't mean anything. Because there's some fighters out there who will tear you a new one, huh? And you'll need more paramedic attention and everything if one of those guys get a hold of you. And they tell me that he's at 140 pounds and he wants to go on in there and try to barge the 140 pounds by storm in 2022. Man, let me tell you something. Josh Taylor ain't going home without them belts without a real challenge, a real fight. And someone is honestly that's as distracted as this cat is, he ain't ready for that type of smoke. Did you see Josh Taylor eye almost hanging out of the socket when he fought Regis Prograis? How many guys you know gonna run around the ring like that trying to still win a fight? They'll be looking for the cornerman to stop it. So, you know, and this guy, he's obviously too concerned with his appearance and everything. So, lo and behold, if he happened to get, you know, get a shot and get cut or something in there, he might lay down and die. Reggie, from shock. There's some buzzsaws out there, man. And it's like there's a blade with his name on it, huh? And it ain't gonna be to cut his hair either. Shit.
Yeah, he does a lot of clown-ish, man. And I'm ready to see him in a real fight, man. I think it's time to step him up, put him in there against some real opposition. He's going to come back at him. He did his thing against Baranachik, but that Baranachik fight was dangerous for him too, as he was rocked, buzzed in that fight, but he's able to come back and put Baranachik up out of his misery in the fight. But
didn't we watch Baranachik go life and death with Zepeda?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Exactly. So Baranchik might be on his way out. You know what I'm saying? That's not even why not get your butt in there with Zepeda and see what can happen, huh? We saw what he just did to Josue. You know what I mean? He smoked Josue like a pack of Newports after all that talking and stuff he did. Had him out of there in one round. Let's see this guy, you know, go out there against somebody like that. And Josue not Josue, but Zepeda, he don't even talk too much crap. He just like, I want to see you on fight night, you know? I don't like the dude. I saw him today for the first time because I didn't even see the Baranchik fight or whatever. But I know what I like and what I don't like. That is too close to AB type material right there. And we saw what happened when Madonna got a hold of AB. And I know Junior the Truth don't want to hear us talking about the, hometown guys and stuff like that. But you know what, man?
Man, Ohio ain't got no serious competition out there. Them kids play too much up there. Ohio used to be a hotbed for great fighters, but this new breed, this new era, nah.
They weren't even smart enough to celebrate Buster Douglas, man. Buster Douglas was a hell of a heavyweight, man. He was. And could have been a star in many other sports too, football and basketball. But listen, all you got to do is go back and watch 3 fights. Watch Buster Douglas versus Quinn Navarre. Watch Buster Douglas versus Tony Tucker. And Buster Douglas versus Oliver McCall. Those 3 fights right there, he boxed his butt off in those fights, man. And if you want to throw another one in there, watch Buster Douglas versus Mike Young, who was supposed to be a guy they were grooming for Mike Tyson. And it was on the undercard of, I think, Mike Tyson versus Carl the Truth Williams. And Buster fought this guy on the undercard. Mike Williams, I think his name was. I said Mike Young. Mike Williams. And they were grooming this guy. He was 6'4", this body beautiful, muscular dude, like a Frank Bruno type or whatever. Buster knocked that dude out with a jab. It's like, oh man. But Cleveland didn't want to rally behind him. Even when he won against Mike Tyson, it was like, yeah, But, hey, there's some other fighters out there.
They ain't even want to rally behind Sean Porter because he don't brush his hair and shake his ass for dudes, so they don't rally behind him. Like I say, Ohio has lost its way when it comes to a lot of things in sports. They too busy wanting to see guys who are flashy and shaking their ass and getting their hair and beards brushed. I mean, there has to be a level of seriousness that's coming up out of there. Whoever's grooming these kids and training them to get the flashiness up out of there. Same thing with Jerron Ennis. Jerron Ennis started to go down that same hole. His father fixed that shit quickly, and Ohio ain't getting nobody that's fixing it. They too caught up on the style. They too caught up on style and flash. And they're not getting any serious products coming up out of there because it's about seriousness and flash.
Yeah, one thing about the sport of boxing, man, you have to have substance. If you don't have substance, you won't last very long. Because all it takes is someone to get in there with you who's battle tested and raring to go. That can change everything. But yeah, his performance tonight, Reggie, was it was assisted by the official, but also the opponent did him no justice. Mr. Pac-Man 216 says, Stormy B-Man, why are you going in on Cleveland? How am I going in on Cleveland, man? I was just saying that Cleveland should support a guy like Buster Douglas better than they did. That kid is like, what has he done in boxing yet? The way he's carrying on. Like, you know what it's like? Remember how the Prince used to behave in his own way? That's kind of like that. It's like a modern day, But we saw what happened to the Prince when he got in there with somebody of substance. Barrera showed him the way to the door. Mr. Pac-Man, I'll just say this real quick. That stuff is short-lived, bro. It's short-lived. This ain't professional wrestling. This ain't the WWE and all of that stuff where you come in there and you blowing kisses and people tossing roses and all. Dude, this is boxing, man. You see how T.O. got treated now? It's like people realize and recognize what a real fool he was. And that's not going to turn. That's going to be him now. He's earned that reputation. He's still making excuses. This latest one about the air in the chest and all of that, he could have died. I'll stop my comment right there, because what I feel about that is like, if it was all like that, why'd he get in the ring? Huh? Anyway.
Yeah. The air kept the food from dying. It's called oxygen, T.O. But the thing back to the other thing with this Montana thing is how people have been getting about black fighters who come out here in a Mexican attire, that cultural appropriation. And this fool has taken it a step further, where he brought out a damn mariachi singer to sing his ring walk music. So it's just like, man, these dudes have lost so much when it comes to the aspect of pride, what they're doing, realizing who they are, and also what they look like. They just like being buffoons. But I think he took it to another level of people who hate to see black fighters that kind of wear, ain't even so much you can say they're embracing the Mexican culture, like they're just making a mockery of it. And then the fact that he got a Mexican singer to sing some music in Spanish as he walked, like this fool is something else.
Yeah, that kind of blew me away too when I had heard that. I saw that the guy was in the ring singing for him, and I was like, really? Okay. You know. The next time Mikey Garcia come to the ring, let me know when he got Dr. Dre or somebody singing for him, rapping for him or whatever. I'll pay to see that. And he come to the ring in kente cloth.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Where another race fighter gonna do that?
Yeah, well. Rasheed Rourke says, that's what I was thinking, Stormybman. I didn't see any breathing problems from T.O. No, he just wanted an airbag around his body in that fight against Kambosos, because Kambosos was putting it on him. That's all. They mixed the story up. How many excuses he got so far, Reggie? Have you counted them?
Man, it's probably 1,000 already. I never heard air. He almost died because of air.
See, he ain't gonna get no sympathy or mercy consideration now, because he done did what he did. That's it, man. What did I say? I was like, you know what? That thing, it ain't gonna last. Just like I said about this kid tonight, Montana, huh? That kind of stuff dries up very quick, man. When people see you're not a person of substance, people gonna start respecting Devin Haney, because all of this, and don't forget about this, going the rounds, that's going to turn him into something more successful, because he knows he can go 12, he knows he can be in tough, and he knows how to handle and make adjustments, in the rounds. That's all beneficial to him. All these guys that have been knocking people out and stuff and not having to really show and display skills and, go the distance and test their stamina and things like this in live action, he's going to be ahead of the curve in those departments. And it will make for more exciting opportunities for him in the future. That's the one upside that you can pretty much hang your hat on when it comes to Devin Haney.
Absolutely.
And salute to Mr. Pac-Man 216 out there in that Cash App. Appreciate you, bro. I wasn't trying to argue with you, man. You can always state what you, but I'm not going in on Cleveland. I'm going in on those guys from Cleveland who behave a certain kind of way. It's like, man, that's a short path, short path. But what else on that, Reggie? You want to talk about the heavyweights?
Oh, heck yeah.
I personally think that Emir Amamovic, whatever his name is, I can't pronounce that name. The Russian guy, German guy, I guess he was very strong, but he fought a dumb fight. And if he had just worked behind the jab, and that's what I had written in your chat, he could have surprised Hrgović with something. This is why when we talk about these fighters that don't have a lot of skills, you got knockouts, but you don't have the experience of being able to box. He had a jab, but he wouldn't use it. And then as soon as Hrgović started getting close to him and started bludgeoning him upside his head and in the back of his head, you can only take that so much from a big guy that can punch, you know. But jab, stay away from the ropes, keep the fight in the center of the ring, learn how to tie a guy up. You know, we talked about that with Malik Scott, about being able to tie up a man, how essential that is in boxing. And there's a lot of guys that are unpracticed at that. So Hrgović had his way. I think that a fight between Hrgović and Tyson Fury would be very interesting because Fury knows how to use his arms. But Hrgović got the type of strength that could offset that weight that Fury would like to put on against bigger guys. He's got the different type of strength. He got that, I like to call it that old, you know, men from the mountains and caves strength, that caveman strength. He has that. And he's strong. He can wear you down over the course of a fight. But yeah, he did a number on that guy tonight. He just bludgeoned him out of there. What were your thoughts watching that?
Yeah, no, I thought that Hrgović is just way too strong for that guy. That guy didn't try to do anything to offset anything that Hrgović was throwing at him. And I don't think Hrgović needs to put anything together because of what Amir wasn't doing. Amir was just catching him with some of those wild little right hooks throwing in at him, but he didn't set anything up to give, you know, Hrgović anything to worry about. Hrgović just hopped back up on him. He was very smooth on his feet. For a big guy, he's pretty swift on his feet as far as being able to pull away from things, opening up some range. But I think he was headhunting a lot as he just knew he had a weaker opponent in there. And he's very strong. Those just simple jabs landing on that guy Amir was starting to kind of cast doubt within him. And then seeing Hrgović kind of letting those combinations go, which many of them were hidden, but anytime they landed, they brought about a lot of damage to this guy. And I think that last knockdown, the guy really didn't get hit. He was just trying to duck out the way of some of those shots because of what he was hit with before. But I definitely want to see what Hrgović can do as he steps up. I think his name needs to be drawn into the mix as well. I think his name needs to be up there with these other guys because it's time to get the heavyweight division reignited. And there's some big guys out there who they all need to match each other. And they need to get their names called up there before Tyson Fury is up out of here within 2 or 3 fights. But
Yeah.
whoever's his team, his management, they need to do a better job with Hrgović.
I agree with that. But lastly, Reggie, let's talk about my girl from Chicago. Oh man, Jessica McCaskill, bro. Man, she was putting it on that girl tonight. She was hitting her with double and triple right hands. She threw some really nice left hooks to the liver. And she began to just work her like a bag in the gym. Oh, man. I called it a Chi-Town special that she put on Candy. You know, Candy took it too. Candy Wyatt. But her trainer was still sending, rinsing that mouthpiece off, shoving it in her mouth and sending her out there. I'm like, dude, don't you have mercy? It's like, don't you see this woman getting her head smashed in? Your thoughts on that one, Reg?
Yeah, man, that was one of the more brutal beatdowns I've seen in women's boxing. I think McCaskill is just way too much for this lady. This lady was in here over her head, and the work that McCaskill put on her, she made sure she covered every aspect of beating on this woman. If she could have hit to the legs, she would have worked this girl's legs, but the body punching was some severe body beating. The punches to the head were super severe, and then even the busting the woman's nose open. It was a real brutal beatdown, and that would kind of force even a doctor to come up over there. I don't think, and matter of fact, the body work started to take away from Wyatt's ability to even be able to fight back, to even get a chance to possibly land something. The body punches took everything out of her. She, at one point, it looked like she could barely extend her arms out, or maybe she didn't want to. She knew she needed to keep her arms tight to her body just to be able to catch some of those big punches coming in from McCaskill's. But the beatdown was just very brutal. I didn't hear anything about the corner saying they needed to see some more. It was the referee walking over there saying something, and then also seeing that doctor outside the ring saying something like, this is becoming too bad, man. This woman is going to need to be protected, not from herself. It was like the fighter probably could have used a lifeline from her corner to stop it. I think it was more of the doctor needing to just save her because of her corner just having no thought in mind to protect their fighter from a fight that was just becoming too far gone as far as being a complete blowout. That woman didn't win one round in that fight. But that's my thoughts on it. McCaskill came in here, easy defense, show why she's undisputed champion, and she put a total brutal beat down on that woman.
Reggie, she hit her, I think the fight was stopped in the 7th. She hit her in the 5th round with a right hand that I thought she knocked that woman's jaw off her body, bro. It was all contact, flush, and the type of shot that should knock somebody out, but maybe she just didn't catch the jaw on the right angle or something. But when she hit Candy Wyatt with that shot, I cringed. I was like, oh, salute to her, man. Salute to Jessica McCaskill. Salute to Alicia Baumgardner, man. We're starting to see, man, the sister Clarissa Shields, she has really paved the way for the spotlight to be brought in on these women because they're raising their game. It's like they're starting to go in that gym and come out with technique, motivation, desire, and they have that intestinal fortitude. It's like they're digging deep, these women. These ain't no chump punk women, man, from the Christy Martin era. These are women out there, dude, that they're starting to really step up the class of their performance, and I enjoy watching it. Salute to them, and they're entertaining, so I want to see more. I had no idea that McCaskill was from Chicago, but now seeing the way she fights and everything, dude, I can totally understand it. She looks like somebody that I went to grade school with. And of course, it's not her because she's much younger. She's 37 years old, I think they said. But I went to grade school with a young lady that looked a lot like her, and she was rough and tough herself, man. I won't say her name on the air because she might even be watching, and she, probably wouldn't appreciate me talking about her being a humbug like that because she used to fight too. But that was in the streets back then, and it was no women boxing back then. But it's like, boy, she would be cleaning people up on the playground. I'm telling you. So that might be her daughter or something. I don't know. It's like, but yeah, buddy, we got some young fighters out there, Reggie, and they're worth tuning into. And a few of them are fighting on Dazn. So it's like, hey, I might keep it a little longer because, they're not bad lookers either, So oh man. But yeah, I think that's about it, man. Everybody get a chance to hear what we had to say about the fights, but there's been plenty of others talking about this. Devin was successful. He and JoJo showed respect after the fight. Um, it was a very good fight, highly competitive. The right man won. The scorecards were pretty good, and it's on to the next one. Do you think that there's a chance that he may get consideration for Kambosos?
Oh yes, definitely, man. I seen on forgot where I went to see that him and Kambosos were speaking after the fight, as Kambosos is still part of that Dazn team. That him and Kambosos were down there talking. So I didn't get to listen to the audio to it, but it looks like they may end up having something going on. And the crowd filled out, so it looked like they sold pretty well. So we see what Tank event looks like, but I think Kambosos may go for this fight. I don't even know if he goes to LA for Tank fight. So I think his next fight is going to be Devin, and it could be a very exciting fight. I think it'll be a crowd pleasing fight, and Devin kind of displayed that against JoJo.
Yeah, and what I would like to see, Reggie, in all sincerity, because Devin is a good kid in the sport too, just like Kambosos is a good kid from his side of the pond where he comes from. I would like to see these young men get a chance to put on a great fight between them and make some money. You know what I mean? And see where you have all these other dudes out here who want to safeguard things and stuff like that. If it turns out to be a great fight, you can have a rematch. Huh? But the thing is to have the fight. Put on the fight that the people want to see. And this is, to me, this is definitely one of them. A fight between Kambosos and Devin, I think, would do well because that's a skill matchup. Devin may be edging in the skill, but Kambosos, he might be edging in certain other areas. And I would like to see it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. And if they are able to make that fight, maybe by spring or something, that would be outstanding.
Yeah, I think they get that fight within the next 4 months as well. They got to get it on. But I think that's the fight that I think Kambosos may want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we should be definitely banging the drum for that, looking for, that type of opportunity to take place between these guys. And because I do truly believe that Tank is on a different trajectory as far as the way his people who are moving him, they're on something else. It's not about the belts. It's not about being undisputed and stuff like that. They are about a brand and promoting a brand. Not that I think that that's a bad thing, but if we have one black fighter in the sport of boxing who's about a brand and it be Tank, so be it. I don't want all of the fighters to try to adopt that because that's not going to work out. But for Tank Davis, this very well may be his thing, and if it is, let it be, man, But yeah, those are my thoughts, man. Would you like to give everybody some final thoughts and let them know where they can find you, and we'll be able to get on up out of here?
Yes, indeed, man, and we should be seeing them tomorrow for that Tank one. But I gotta see if I'm gonna pay for that event. But man, another good night of fighting, man. Great display by Devin Haney. Go out there and pull off this victory. Salute to JoJo Diaz for bringing the best up out of Devin Haney. Making Devin Haney have to work for this victory. Him looking sharp, them coming prepared, had me worried. Like I say, that's the most nervous I've been in the fight, thinking something was wrong. And salute to Devin Haney for calming those feelings and seeing him go out there and display it for a full 12 rounds, staying relatively sharp. Little minor marks as far as not keeping things sharp, but overall, he displayed high level skills. Very dynamic dude. We want to see what Tank does tomorrow as well. So we get 2 days of fighting. The other one's pay-per-view. So, but that's it, man. That's all I got, folks.
Yes, sir. And great call again on the fights. I know you were saying before they finally got in there, you were nervous. So I hope
I was nervous as hell.
Yeah, I hope they shook it out enough for you that you were able to enjoy it. So, but it was a pretty good fight. You know, these guys, again, one more time on the fact that this fourth quarter of the year, man, they have really not let us down with quality and action. It's been on point, and that's all we could ask for, you know. But yeah, this has been another post-fight show. Stormybman and Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens. We're going to get on up out of here. Let everybody enjoy the rest of their weekend and Sunday. Check those fights out tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I got the call-in show. And then after the fights, there'll be a post-fight show. If if Reggie is going to find a way to, you know, check the bouts out, we can have a post-fight show after that. Otherwise, we'll figure out what we're going to do. But yeah, peace to everybody out there. Have a good night, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.